There we go. Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead, welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. Welcome to the after chat after this last session of general, or the first session of general conference. Shauna Morgan says the choirs wear white dresses. The morning breaks. Other soirs be temple bound at every age. Confidence and covenants. Yeah, I actually didn't see the tabernacle choir because we were driving, and so I just had it on audio. Man, we should have put a hat on. We just got up and started going this morning. I didn't really think too much about my appearance. Sorry about that. Okay, what else we got? Cameron Reed, tabernacle choir, sisters wore white and the men had red ties. It reminded me of angels in Christ coming in red when he comes. Greg Brown, good afternoon all. Shayla Donnelly, was that a warning message from President Eyring? Yeah, I believe so. I think there were a lot of warning messages in this session. I feel like this session was a very five wise virgins, kind of session, and a warning to the five foolish virgins. The reason why is because it started out that way with President Holland. He talked about being urgent with being active in the church, being on the covenant path, not just being on the rolls of the church, not just being baptized, but actually doing it, and that it's urgent. So to me, that screams be one of the five wise virgins. And then President Eyring's talk, he shared stuff from a talk that he gave a while ago. He repeated a couple of the same stories. So for example, live so that when the call comes, you can walk away easily. We've talked about that before. I think he talked about that maybe in the October 2021 General Conference, but he's repeating it again now. And there's a lot of growth coming to the church, whether it's before the second coming or whether it's after. I think a lot of people are going to have to step up into leadership roles because you're going to be needed. We've talked a lot on this channel how it seems like the church expects major growth, whether it's because of the second coming or there's some other thing before the second coming. And so we all need to live in a way that we can walk away easily. Maybe not just because we'll be called to, different callings of leadership, but maybe just stepping away from your current lifestyle because things are going to change pretty drastically at the second coming, obviously. The whole world, that's going to be the true great reset, is the second coming. And so whatever lifestyle you're living now, if you haven't overcome the world and you're still really focused on the world, but you're worthy to move on into the second coming, it might be a difficult transition if you're not ready to walk away easily from this order of society to the new order. Okay. Green Tree, hello. LL Bun, my battery at 77% at the end of General Conference at 2 p.m. sharp. I love how God sends little Easter eggs like that, so to speak. That's awesome. I've actually been seeing a lot of 77s lately myself. But anyway, Christine Buck, lots of talk about the temple and how it can help us get through the trials ahead. Yep. It's very important to be temporally prepared. We talk about this, doing what you can to produce your own food and protect yourself and have 72-hour kits and food storage and on and on and on. That's great. But even more important than that is being spiritually prepared, because that gives you additional protection, both temporal and spiritual. And we definitely need spiritual protection as we move forward, and there's more and more deception in the world, and the world as the world descends into chaos. And yeah, okay. Betty Hornhay, Liberty Mills, Homestead. My great grandfather wrote, "We thank thee, oh God, for a prophet." That's cool. Carrie Goodman from sunny Southern California, Armor of Light, Sister Dennis. Okay, I'm gonna have to catch up with the chat, so I'm gonna have to skip down. I'm sorry. Penny Tidwell, happy conference weekend, everyone. Ililbom or Ilbon, I'm not sure. I feel that they've been trying to prepare us CO2MC for a while now. So let me just share some of my thoughts. So I thought it was really interesting that President Holland was basically alluding to, or just flat out saying, that he had a near-death experience. And that stood out to me because it wasn't until, I don't know if it was this year or last year, that I did a video where I discovered that Elder David B. Haight just explicitly told his near-death experience in General Conference back in like 1983 or something like that. So that blew me away that happened, that I didn't know about it. And now here we have President Holland not really telling everything that he saw. Like he said, there was like stuff that he experienced that he's not sharing in conference. Some of it probably just private and personal to his own life, but some of it maybe just not meant for our ears at this time. But that blew me away. And he also said he was like, as far as like how much longer he's gonna live, he was talking in terms of like weeks or maybe months. That kind of took me aback. Let me know what you thought about that. It's weird because you know, I just recently covered how he like had that miraculous recovery, and Elder Renlund said that he's probably here for a purpose, like the Lord extended his life for a reason. I want to know what that reason is, and I don't know, that just like, that stunned me when he said that. And then he said, it's urgent. I want to go back and see how he said it, because somebody, I put a couple of my notes on Facebook, on my Facebook page as I was listening, and somebody had said, just like the look that he had when he said it's urgent, like we need to be urgent about going to the temple and living on the covenant path, and not just being a I can't remember the word he used, but anyway, not just being one of these people that like you're baptized, you don't really go to church, you're less active, inactive, whatever. Here with 3 blue butterflies. Hi, Mindy. Okay, let's see. El Piculi. Elder Holland's reference to weeks, maybe months, reminded me of Elder Ballard's talk. Oh my gosh. I can't picture the Quorum of the 12 being without President Holland, because he's been there, well, most of my life. Like, for all intents and purposes, like, as far as my memory goes, like, he's always been there, you know? So that would be really sad for him to go. But that would mean that someone else will be called to fill that spot, and maybe that's going to happen this year. Same thing with President Eyring. I did see that. I saw the video that he was, it was like a televised. You need to pull over when there's someone like that.
I couldn't. There's someone in my way.
Then you need to slow down. Erroneous Maximus. Hi, Jared. Aaron from Orem, Utah here. What an inspiring session of General Conference this morning. Yes, it was. Goblin 2004, the talk the President Jeffrey R. Holland gave was very well inspired. I was really fascinated by the fact that he was talking first. And just like, he just had this like major life experience with his wife passing away, and then he himself being on death's doorstep, and then saying what he did. So if he does only have a little while more to live, if he doesn't make it to the next General Conference, then it may be this talk that needed to be spoken. Like, maybe we should give like extra attention to this talk. Oh yeah, it was also interesting because President Oaks, didn't he say that for this conference there were going to be like 3 members of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles that are going to conduct? And whenever there's something like this that happens, I always like have to like think back and be like, was there ever a time that it was anyone other than members of the First Presidency that conducted the sessions of General Conference? And I don't think so. This may be a first, but I guess I'll have to wait for, you know, they'll probably make the news. I'm sure that Church News, Deseret News, Salt Lake Tribune, somebody will like be able to say, oh yeah, this hasn't happened before. But it's definitely unusual. I can say that for sure. I don't know if it's unprecedented. Carrie Goodman, the expression of multiple rays of light in our life combined can be our own pillar of light. Elder Dushku. Oh yeah, I loved his talk. He was talking about how the Lord really works. Like, there are times where things are like spectacular, amazing, obvious, pleasing to the senses, you might say. But most of the time, that's just not how it goes. And it's not just personal revelation. It's the way that prophecy plays out, and just like the operating of the church itself. It's like done in a very real, practical way, but the Lord is definitely there, and usually it's kind of discreet, and you don't see it unless you're looking. In fact, he said, oh no, this was the sister that spoke before him. If you know her name, I didn't catch it. I was driving at the time. Now Jenica's driving. But what was her name, and what calling, or what office is she in? What position? But she was talking about symbols, and how symbols they're used because they have deeper meanings, and that, there's some people that don't even know that there's more meaning there because they're not looking for it. It's just like the signs of the times and everything else that we talk about on the channel. Like, this world that we live in, I think, has so much more meaning than what we realize. Like, when it comes to the Lord, when it comes to signs of the times, when it comes to personal revelation, when it comes to scriptures, doctrines of the church, the temple, obviously, you have to work that muscle. You can't just be one of these people that think that, nothing means anything. Oh, you're just looking too much into it. If you're of that frame of mind, you're probably blind. You're probably spiritually blind. Whether it's signs of the times, or whether it's symbolism in the scriptures, or the temple, or whatever. So we need to develop that capacity and exercise those muscles, and stop waving away everything. And you can go too far the other way and be extreme. Not every single thing has deep, profound meaning. You don't have to pray to know which can of soup to buy at the grocery store. But I think if you just use good sense, you can tell when there is additional meaning to something. And when we're talking about signs of the times, I think that the larger the audience is, the more likely the Lord's going to use that event as a sign. Such as the clips that I'm currently traveling to. All right, let me catch up. Oh, there's a lot of people chatting. Okay, let's see. No says, haha, the soup, laugh out loud, very true. I think somebody had talked about that in general conference one time. There was a person that felt that they needed to pray about which can of soup to buy, and they were just going too far in that extreme. We're not commanded in all things. We do a lot of good things of our own will and choice. We have agency, and there's things like that are just arbitrary. But when it comes down to important decisions, like who you're going to marry, where you're going to move, who you're going to serve that week, you pray for an opportunity to serve. The Lord can show it to you in a very natural way. Okay. Judson Mabby, or maybe, I loved all the talks about the temple and our covenants. If there was a theme for this session, I would say it was that. It was going to the temple. I think that was the main theme. What do you think was the main theme of this general conference? But I feel all of them talked about that to one degree or another, I think. I remember the sister, what's her name? Does anybody have it? What was her name again? I wasn't watching at the time. I was driving, but I was listening. Anyway, she talked about the requirements for going to the temple, and how you don't have to do this, or this, and it's for this age, and da-da-da. She gave a list of things, and it felt like they were trying to encourage people, don't wait on going to the temple. If If you meet this criteria, then go. If you can, go. Sister Annette Dennis. User OW7W1XPX5X. All will be well because of temple covenants. That sounds like something to ingrain in a people who are about to face difficult times. It does, yeah. President Eyring, he told a flood story. You know, we're about to experience the counterpart to Noah's flood, the burning of the earth. And there's also going to be, of course, increasing tribulation. I'm not of this camp where it's like, we haven't seen tribulation yet. I think that we have been seeing tribulation ever since the beginning of the church, and it's increasing in different ways, socially, but also world conflict and chaos and on and on and on, crime. But it's going to increase, and the saints will hardly escape. It's not like we're immune to these things, but we do have additional protection if you're of the covenant and you're living inside of your covenants. But anyway, whatever may happen between now and the second coming, or at the second coming itself, and when I say second coming, I'm talking about Christ coming to the world, appearing to the entire world. Whatever happens, you can have that assurity that if you, your spouse, your family, if they're living righteously and worthily, then you have the promises of the covenants that you made in the temple. If you haven't been living worthily, then you don't. You need to hold up your end of the covenant. You do your part, and then the Lord promises you his part. President Eyring talked about the acceleration of the building of temples, so that's exciting. And so I guess you can. I already felt pretty sure about it anyway because of live streams that we've done and emails that I've read and videos that I've done. I've already felt pretty sure that there's going to be more temples announced this general conference, but I feel like that is the final nail in the coffin. I guarantee there's going to be more temples announced this conference. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like another, 20 or something like that. Tara and R. President Holland said something to the effect of, be serious in our planning for when Christ comes. This is an urgent matter. Yep. Like I said, without talking about the parable of the 10 virgins, I feel like that was a very be one of the wise the 5 wise virgins. Be in that group. Be serious. Be urgent. Now's the time to start coming back to church. If you're watching my channel and you're not active in church, you're less active, you've stepped away, or if you're not a member of the church, now's the time to make your move while we still have time. This eclipse that's coming up, I don't know what it means, but I feel like it has to do with the second coming, and I didn't even know if we would make it to the eclipse before the second coming happened, but it seems like it will happen. But I would not bank on just having all the time in the world to do what you need to do. So just do it. Goblin 2004. I feel as though God wanted us here at this RV park for a certain reason. I know the owner has been working us in our current situation. Teresa Lane. 20 temples will be announced at this conference. Ruby, I have a question, and I don't know if you know, but I'm genuinely curious. ? Okay, I'll wait for your question. El Paculi, Jared, add Elder Suarez's message to live higher and holier to your spreadsheet. Yeah. Well, once all these talks, once they're all transcribed and they're on the scripture citation index, I'll update all the phrases that I've been checking for. Add the L. Jesus is the only way to eternity. That's correct. Ruby, do you think if Satan asked God for forgiveness, he would give it? No, I don't think so. But we don't know answers to those questions, but it seems as though it's pretty much permanent. What happened in the premortal life, my best understanding and everything that I've ever read, it seems like it's final. So I'm going to go with that, but I'm also not going to be like, no, that can never, no, he can never be forgiven. I don't know, but as far as I know, I think the answer is no. I think it's permanent. Mindy says, I started crying when President Holland said we need to be recognized as his when Christ returns. Yeah, that's right. That's right. He said, are you going to want to go through the experience of him saying, for this church worthily, or you're doing all the right things, quote unquote, you're going to church, you're paying tithing, but inside you're a terrible person because you treat other people really ugly, you're mean, you lie, you manipulate, you don't feel love for people, you're not able to love. Probably not going to go well, and you're probably not going to be recognized as his if you don't work on those traits of love and kindness. Oh yeah, that was another thing, is he's been studying the Hebrew word hesed, and I just thought that was interesting. Loving kindness, that's something that we need to do. That's something that we need to become ourselves. Rebecca Sorensen, I started crying when President Eyring spoke about prayers. Yep. Oh, that was another thing. So what he said seems to contradict, I can't remember the 70 that, there was a video that I did a long time ago where he was talking about how it's a good idea to pray in your mind because when you speak out loud, Satan can hear it, and then he can use whatever you say against you. I did a video about it. That was in a general conference back like 1994 or something like that. But President Holland, and I'm going to go with him because, I go with whatever's the most recent counsel and direction, plus President Holland is higher up. He's acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. He said that we should pray out loud in private whenever possible. So I'm going to go with that. Pray out loud when in private, whenever possible. And it makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like whenever I pray out loud, I'm able to keep my thoughts more coherent, and it's less like cloudy and just like, all swirling in my head. I think it is really important to pray out loud. Just like I think I did this recent video about, your inner voice is reconnecting. Okay, it says you're live again. Okay. So I think that in our thoughts, and it talks about this in the scriptures, both our tongue, which is basically not just what we speak, but also what we think, we need to be intentional with our thoughts, because that's essentially your spirit exercising control over the natural man. And if you don't think very much, if you don't intentionally do things, if you don't intentionally think about your weaknesses and like tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore, or I need to start doing this. I think it goes a long way when you're intentional. And I think the inner voice is part of that, but that's just a theory of mine. Okay. Sarah Joy Mitchell, what stood out to me was when President Eyring made the point about live so when the call comes, you can leave easily. That could apply to many aspects of our lives and when the Lord calls us to leave. Yeah. I feel like in a sense, that's why I'm here doing YouTube. I think I'm meant to do this. I think it's doing good. I think that other YouTubers are doing good too. I wanted to say something. Sometimes you might have the temptation to be upset at another YouTuber, blogger, author, whatever. And I think we got to be careful with that, because even though they may not get everything right, I think that most of these people, authors, podcasters, whatever, are doing the best that they can and doing more good than bad. And for all you know, they may have been called before this life. This may be their mission, just like you have your mission in life. And so, I would call for just kindness when it comes to other channels and also guests of channels. I got an email from someone that I had interviewed, because some people had left not kind comments about him, or what he said anyway, and he saw it, so that put me in the awkward position of like, just don't listen to what they say. Like there's always people that say mean things in the comments. You guys, your comments matter. They're not just anonymous, nothing. Like the things that you say, the things that you type, they have a ripple effect in the world. And it may feel like you're, just typing something in a YouTube comment section doesn't mean anything, but it does. It affects me, it affects other commenters, it affects guests, which that goes along with what Elder, where's the name? Elder Gerard. He was talking about the way that we appear to the world. That's something that I want to work on. I'm always continually trying to refine the way that I present myself, but we each individually need to do that. If I'm talking to somebody that's from another religion, namely Jew, because that's pretty much the only people I've talked to so far, well, that's not entirely true, but mostly Jews, they gauge our church based on our interactions with them. So we need to show kindness and love and not hostility, whether it's to Jews or other Christians or other members of the church. And that can be hard to do because sometimes people say the most ridiculous things and you want to stand up for what's right, and you should, but it should be done in a way that's not personal, because you still need to talk about the issues. If somebody says something wrong, in a tactful way and in a non-contentious way, you do need to stand up and say what needs to be said, but without actively attacking a specific individual, right? So, but it's not just YouTube, it's our life. We need to think about how our words affect other people. Okay. Amy Laria, Christian kindness is not a substitute for integrity. Swirling hearts. Oops. Didn't mean to click on that. Is the stream okay? I can't tell. It seems like it's okay. Let me know if the video quality is okay. We're in the middle of Missouri right now. Have we already passed Columbia? Do you know? I'm gonna see really quick. Sorry guys, I'm curious. Where are we? Oh, we're coming up on Columbia, Missouri, and then after that we're going to be passing through St. Louis later on. Okay. Chris Johnson, I heard the same about Satan listening. When I pray out loud, it is mostly gratitude. Any issues and any help with I keep in my silent prayers. I do find prayers are more gratitude these days. That's good. Jen from Christian Fire Poppies here. Make sure to subscribe to her channel. And Mindy too, Temples of Jesus. Jen says, Elder Holland, or President Holland's talk, we need to believe in angels and miracles and the promises of the Holy Priesthood. We need to believe that we really can ascend to Mount Zion, the city of the living God. Yes, believe. Yeah. And it's a struggle, it's a muscle. You have to exercise it. So if things like that are strange to you, like having personal experiences, like what Elder Dushku said, he gave a bunch of different examples of how prayers were answered out, or how he was prompted by the Spirit. If that's strange to you and you don't experience that, then work that muscle. You don't pray for miracles, you pray for what you need, and then as you're observant and believe that the Lord is there and He's in your life, He will interact with you. And if you don't just discount something because it doesn't make sense to the world, if you look at it through spiritual eyes, you will recognize that it's the Lord doing things for you. Goblin 2004. I have an appointment next week to do an initiatory and endowment session at the Red Cliffs, Utah temple. That is good. They were talking a lot about how we need to be in the temple. Mindy says, Jen, your videos are fire. You know what's really weird? Yesterday, was it yesterday that we got the rental car? No, we've had it. No, well, anyway, yesterday we got Jenica a new phone, so we had to go to Wichita, the Wichita area. And when we got there, it was all like smoky, like all over the place, like just like tons of smoke. And I was like, what the heck? This is not just like a regular field fire, because it's like all over the place. It's like covering the entire city. It turned out that it was like a large like grass fire, like southeast of Wichita. But yesterday, it was just very surreal driving through the smoke. You know, the sun was hazy looking and more red looking. It was around like sunset, so it was pretty spectacular. But even just something simple like that, it felt like on a personal level, like set the mood for this highlighted this trip that we're taking, and it was just like kind of like a spiritual primer. Raina, where did you learn all this? How do you know more about the world and universe than... Okay, what? Goblin 2004. I made an appointment for an endowment session for the 20th of April. It'll be nice to schedule a weekly appointment to attend the house of the Lord. Yep. Kamari, Bert, you're breaking up. Okay, sorry. I'll probably end this soon. Did you guys have any other impressions or anything that you wanted to share? I think I pretty much covered all my... Yeah, I think I covered all my notes. Covered all my notes. Sorry guys, there's nothing I can do. We're traveling, and we're getting close to a populated area, Columbia, Missouri, but Jared has inspired so many people with his channel, especially me. So grateful for this whole community. Oh, thank you, Jen, and I am too. I'm grateful for you. You're doing a really good job, and you've inspired me and many others, obviously. And let's just all be in this together and keep watching and keep doing what we know we need to do.
I'm grateful too.
Huh?
I'm grateful too.
Oh, you want to say it?
I'm grateful for you guys too. Thank you.
So, be what we need to be. President Holland said it's urgent that we need to be ready for basically when Christ comes, that we are what he expects when he comes. And he says hi, and then with like heart kisses, like that 3 times. Okay, guys, I don't know if I'll do the next session because I kind of just want to drive. But if something like big is said, then I'll probably switch Jenica again and she'll drive. And so I think we're in for a treat. I think things are already starting off really. Maybe you can share some of your notes when I post things. Then we can have like you kind of like get ready to share things for my next live stream based on what you post on my Facebook. And sorry, getting distracted by the driving. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your conference weekend, and I hope to see you in the next live stream.